Anything in God starts with this: follow me. And who is me? Jesus. You see, when you take the accountability and you take the responsibility to respond to Jesus when He comes and actually follow Him, you are a candidate for very important things in the kingdom. You understand that? And if you're not a follower, and you're not responsible to follow, you don't take accountability and responsibility, I don't care who prophesies over to you, you're never going to be anything in the kingdom. And if you want to attain to anything in the kingdom, and you want to be eventually somewhere down the road placed into the body in some function, such as a pastor, evangelist, prophet, teacher, apostle, giver, whatever, you got to start like everybody else. You got to start following Jesus. Then Jesus said, if you follow me, I will what? Make you fishers of men. I'll fashion you. I'll develop you. So, can I go to a seminary and get this done? No, not unless I'm in His will and He's molding me in that seminary. And that is why in America, college, Bible colleges, seminaries, and all the rest are stamping out like a factory, plant, the same model, and Jesus isn't in it. And so they take that model that they want and they place it out there in the churches, and the church isn't growing, the church isn't maturing, and the church is not strengthened inside in the inner man and having wisdom and knowledge. Are you there? Just because you got the gift of speaking does not mean He's with you in that speaking. But He's such a good speaker. So what? If He's not saying what the Holy Ghost says, if He's not doing it from Christ, it's not going to work. We can do nothing without Christ. All right. So Jesus is going to make us, but the requirement is what? Follow Him. Not the Catholic Church, not the Protestant Church, not the Muslim. You got to follow who? Him. And then when you decide that, He puts you in His processing plan. You are going to go through a processing plan, a processing factory. And if you drop out of that processing plan, you're not going to reach the goal. Are you with me so far? Now, what is His processing plan? Are you interested? Mark chapter 3, verse 13. Number 1. Jesus went up into the mountain. The mountain in Micah chapter 4 verse 1 is the church in the latter days. The mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and all nations will flow into it. And that has never been fulfilled. Why? Because God's people haven't really understood Christ's processing plan. To get from point A to point B, there is a process. And it's in His church. You can't get it at home. You can't get it in home Bible studies. Unless that home Bible study is the gathering together of the church. Do you understand that? What God is doing, He's going to do in His church. The gathering together of His people. So we got to go where Jesus is. If you're going to follow Jesus, you got to go where He's at. And where is He at? His church. Number 2. Jesus called unto whom He would. Okay? He invited. Okay? You answered my call back there to follow me. And they dropped their fishing nets and they dropped their their tax monies, and they got up and they followed Christ. I mean, they just followed him. They took responsibility. Now he calls them again. Whom he would. Whom who? He. So who's the deciding factor here? Apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers, or Jesus Christ? Yeah, he's still the one that's doing this.